So we are looking again at multiplying. So we've got 6n over 10n times 4n over n to the third. So remember, guys, again, we're going to do that cross-reducing. Okay? So 6 and 10, I can take a 2 out of both of them, so this becomes 3 and 5. This n goes away, and we can change this n to squared. Please pay attention. Okay? 10n and 4n, I can cancel out the n's. And 10 and 4, 2 goes into both of those. Okay? 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 5 is 25. N squared. If you want to continue talking while I'm talking and playing on your phones, you guys can step right out. I can just change your attendance to absent. Okay? I have you guys till 8:12. I need you to pay attention till 8:12. Okay. All right. We're looking at number 3. Any questions about number 1? I figured out the biggest number that goes into both the numbers, and then I figured out the n's to cancel out. Okay. B minus 2 is on this side. B minus 2 is down here. B minus 1 is here. B minus 1 is here. They cancel. And then B plus 9 and B plus 9, that cancel. That means what am I left with, guys? I was able to cross all these out. You're left with, the 9s are canceled out too. Everything's canceled. 1. 1.
So if everything cancels out, it's 1.
Okay. Let's do number 5, and then I think we should do one of the ones on the bottom that look a little more complicated, right? Like maybe 11 or 13. So let's look at 5. What's the biggest number I can take out of 4 and negative 24? 4. Okay. So I'm left with n minus 6, right? Okay. Do we agree n minus 6 cancels out n minus 6? Right. So we're just left with 4 times 1 gives us 4, because we use this. Nothing times n minus 2 is n minus 9 is n minus 9. Yep. Questions about how we're doing this with the canceling? Remember, if you have the same thing on top and the same thing on the bottom, it is just 1. You guys, you got to put your phones down while I'm going over this. It's going to be real hard to learn. All right, we're going to skip down to number 11. We're going to skip down to number 11. Okay, number 11 looks a little more complicated than the ones I've been working on. First, what goes into both 20 and 80 evenly? 20. Whoever music is playing, it should be off right now anyway, so please turn it off. 20 times what gives me 80? 20 times 4. Okay, so see how I changed that one? Let's change the one below it. This is one where you might want to make your little Punnett square. We've got 8 here. We've got p squared here. We know that means it's p and p. Could put those there. What numbers multiply to give us 8 that will add to give us negative 9? Well, when I think of 8, the first thing I think of is 4 and 2, but 4 plus 2 does not equal 9, right? 8 and 1. And they both need to be negative. And then they will add up to negative 9. So that's p minus 1 and p minus 8. So remember, this is gone now. We're just dealing with these. Okay. P minus 8, I can't take anything out of that. What about 18p plus 72? What's the biggest thing I could take out of that? So this might be where you want your calculators. Because my first thing is, okay, does 18 go into 72? No. 9 definitely goes into, but 18 goes into both of them. Oh. Yeah, so we can take out an 18 and we're left with p plus 4. All right, now we're going to do our canceling. P plus 4 and p plus 4 is gone. P minus 8 and p minus 8 are gone. Okay, so I'm going to end up on the top, I'm going to end up with 20 over 18p minus 1. And then can I reduce 20 over 18? What goes into both 20 and 18 evenly? 2, right? So I get 10 over 9 times p minus 1. That's my final answer. Okay. Any questions about that before I move on? All right. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and look at number 13 then. And then I'm going to have you guys do 7 and 9 on your own before you start your homework. Okay, for 13, the first thing I'm looking at is 8x squared minus 24x. What's the biggest number I can pull out of them? I believe it's 8x. And I'm left with x minus 3. Please turn off your music for the 8th time. Should not be listening to it while I'm going over this. Okay. The bottom, what's the biggest number that goes into 16 and 48? Well, first, does 16 go into 48 evenly? It does. So I'm going to take out a 16x, and I'm left with x. Ooh, I can take a 16x squared. And I'm left with x minus 3. Okay, now I'm going to go over here to the top. What goes into both 40 and 56 evenly? Yeah. So I'm going to take out an 8, and I'm going to be left with, and I'm going to take out an 8x squared, right? Because the smallest one is squared, but they both have an x. So 8x squared, and I'm going to be left with 5x plus 7. Ooh, now I'm going to do the bottom. The bottom is a rough one. Because right here we've got that 5x squared. And down here we have a negative 70. Okay, so the first thing, this isn't just x and x anymore. One is 5x and one is 1x. We got to remember that. This is the tough factoring. Okay, so let's think. What numbers multiply to give us 70? So when I think of it, I got 1 and 70. I've got 2 and 35. I've got 5 and 14. I've got, what else? I've got 7 and 10, right? Now, I know that one of these has got to be multiplied by 5. So when I add them together, I'm going to end up with 43. Okay, so let's see. I don't think it's going to be 1 in 70, so I can cancel that one out. All right, 2 times 5 is 10, but 10 plus 35 is going to give me 45, so that's not going to work. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 plus 14 gives me 39, so that's not going to work. 5 times 7 gives me 35 plus 10. Oh, you know what I'm not thinking of? That this is a negative. So if I do 5 times 10, 5 times 10 is 50, right? 50 minus 7 is 43. So I have to have the 10 times the 5. So I'm going to put the 10 here. That gives me 50x, and that's negative. And then I'm going to do a positive 7. So 7x plus a negative 50x gives me negative 43x. So this was a hard factoring one. But we end up with 5x plus 7 and x minus 10. So let's cancel things out. X minus 3 and x minus 3 cancels out. 5x cancels out. So I'm left with 8 times 8 is 64x cubed over 16x squared times x minus 10. Now, can I reduce this? What goes into both 64 and 16 evenly? 8. So I'm left with 8x because these cancel, right? This is gone. I'm just left with 1x. 8x over 2 times x minus 10 is my final answer. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. I want you guys to try 7 and 9 on your own. I'm going to leave 13 up here because some of you might have not finished with that. But I want you guys to work on 7 and 9, and then we're going to go over the answers to those.
Good morning, Lincoln High School. Just a couple reminders on our first early release day. The bell schedule today, just as a reminder, is 1, 2, 3, then 5, then 6, and then our last period of the day is 4th hour. For lunch, you have a lunch like usual, but if you have second lunch, which is normally C lunch, you will eat lunch during the C lunch time slot. So everyone will be in class for the last 30 minutes of the day today. Have a great day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I need your attention again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do 7 and 9, and then the evens are going to be your homework. So let's get these done so you can get started on this in class. Number 7, the first thing I'm going to pull out of both 15 and 50 is 5. So I'm left with 3k minus 10. 3k minus 10, I can't cancel these. But look, 5 and 5 cancels.
There's only 9 left.
3k and 3k, 9k. Don't forget the k.
So it's about to ask.
Don't forget the k. Okay? Number 9. Ooh, this is another one that looks bad. I want you guys to notice, do you guys see this one over here? So when I'm factoring, I might want to try that. That's what I mean by that is this is 5m squared here, so I know I've got 5m and m. I know 8 here, and this is telling me one of them might be negative 8, so let's see if that works. If this is positive 1, and this is negative 8. So I'm going to end up with negative 8m, and I'm going to end up with, ooh, it's got to be a negative 1, doesn't it? Negative 5m, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That adds to negative 13, so we're in good shape. So I'm going to change this to m minus 1, shh, gentlemen, and 5m minus 8. I'm going to cancel these out. I'm left with m minus 1 over m minus 7, and that's my final answer. Okay, guys, the even ones are your homework. I would get started on them right now. We've got about 10 minutes of class left. You should be able to get maybe 1 or 2, or if you're really good, about half of them done right now.